I am Matthew Liberto. I'm the chairman of the FDNY Foundation. Thank you again for joining us. Some recognition in addition to the 100 or so invited guests that are here. We have our foundation board members, a lot of them here, and our associate board, including some former FDNY commissioners. Our foundation staff is here, including the real brains and muscle of the foundation, who many of you know, Gene O'Shea. Some figures across New York City politics. Many of the highest ranking officers here in the fire department, including the commissioner here from later. First Deputy Commissioner Mark Guerra is here. And special recognition to somebody who's seeing 34 years on the department, started his career back in 1991 on Engine 324. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Worked his way up the ranks, interestingly enough, being called by the wrong name for early years by a commissioner who may be showing up at some point. And now he's the highest ranking uniformed member of the department, Chief of Department John Esposito. Before I get started, huge thank you, shout out to Mutual of America representatives here in the room for this spectacular location. Usually the view is a little better than this. Thank you for all you've done for us. You've been partners with the foundation for a long time. This is just one example of your incredible support. As I look out over this room, I can't help but feel a great deal of pride. Gathered together as an incredible group of supporters with one common attribute, an attribute that I share and motivated me a little over a decade ago to get involved with the FDNY Foundation. We love this department and would do anything we can to support the greatest fire department in the world. The 17,000 men and women that work for the FDNY, from the firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics you see on the street every day, to the thousands of people who work behind the scenes, both uniform and civilian, sacrifice so much for the people who live and work in this city. They do it proudly. They do it because they love the city like we all do. All that we do at the foundation is but a small token of our thanks and appreciation for what they do every single day. As I travel around the city, even around the world, and I mention the foundation, I often get the question, what is the FDNY Foundation and why does the FDNY need a charity? Doesn't the city just give them everything they need? Wouldn't that be nice? The answer is, of course not. It's not exactly how it works. So before we hear from the commissioner, I wanted to share a little background on who the foundation is. It was initially founded as the Fire Safety Education Fund many, many years ago and has grown into the incredible organization it is today, largely under the stewardship and leadership of our now Chairman Emeritus, Steve Russo. Simply put, the foundation is here to provide the general public with life-saving fire safety education and to provide the department with critical training, equipment, and services that the city does not fund. I can't possibly run through all of the programs that we support because it's a breakfast. This is not an all-day retreat. So I'm just going to hit some of the highlights, starting with many of the critical specialized units that get support and funding from the foundation. Most notably, the Fire Safety Education Fund. This encompasses a wide range of activities, including classroom and group presentations and alarm installation initiatives. The unit actively participates in virtual presentations organized by educators, intergovernmental agencies, and community-based organizations, ensuring widespread access to vital fire safety education. Some stats to this. Just in 2024, 3,500 homes were visited and 11,000 smoke alarms were installed. 3,100 fire safety presentations took place, reaching an audience of 500,000 people. And 1,900 school presentations were given, reaching an audience of 284,000 students. Staggering and impressive numbers. Lives were undoubtedly saved because of the Fire Safety Education Unit, and the foundation funds it. It would not exist without the foundation. We also help fund the Mobile CPR Training Unit. Trains New Yorkers to respond effectively during cardiac emergencies by offering free compressions-only CPR training across all 5 boroughs. This is delivered by certified FDNY EMS personnel. And last year, the program trained 100,000 people. If you don't know CPR in this room, go get it. We support the FDNY's robotics unit. That's the envy of fire departments all over the world. Among other things, this unit has an arsenal of small and large drones that can be deployed to large-scale incidents, water rescues, building collapses, and even structural fires to get a perspective of an emergency that simply can't be obtained on the ground. This is the FDNY's air fleet. The robotics unit also has a kennel of robo-dogs, truly technological marvels taking the place of risking human lives to explore dangerous situations with cameras and a plethora of sensors to detect heat, gases, chemicals, and even victims. Not to be outdone by robotic dogs, the FDNY has real dogs. We at the foundation support the canine unit, also considered the gold standard for those departments that are lucky enough to even have a canine unit. These assist with fire investigations and search and rescue. The FDNY's incident management team, for which the foundation provides vehicles and training, is comprised of highly trained personnel who apply the principles of the incident command system to respond to major incidents. They are so specialized, they are so good at what they do. Not only do they respond to incidents in New York City, but they're requested to respond to large-scale situations all over the country, particularly national disasters. And then there's the Critical Counsel Servicing Unit, which has a staff to provide mental health evaluations for all FDNY employees, both uniform and civilian. The CSU also offers a unique peer program, which allows current and retired members of the department to visit other members of the FDNY at their firehouses and EMS stations. They're also available for emergency responses to hospitals or following difficult calls involving a fatality. This past year alone, 19,000 visits were made by this unit to FDNY members and their families. This includes routine visits to over 17,000 members at 218 firehouses, 39 EMS stations and support facilities, including the EMS Academy, the Fire Academy, Dispatch Center, and even Fleet Services. Along with those specialized units, the foundation provides training and education to the department's members, supplementing the incredible training that the department provides at The Rock, the FDNY's training academy on Randall's Island, as well as the endless training that the firefighters and EMTs do at their firehouses and EMS stations every single day. Needless to say, there is no department on earth that is as well trained as the FDNY. Many years ago, the foundation began an initiative to provide forcible entry doors to every firehouse in the city. As a firefighter for 27 years, I can tell you personally that gaining access to homes and businesses in a fire emergency is one of the most critical skills a firefighter learns and benefits from practicing regularly. These doors are not provided by the city. The foundation has provided them to 175 firehouses so far, and we won't stop until every firehouse has one. For more senior ranking officers, like some in the room, the foundation has funded the FDNY Officers Management Institute. It's a mouthful, so we call it FOMI. This was developed by Columbia University based on a recommendation in the McKinsey report following September 11th. It provides these officers a solid foundation in management principles and leadership strategies, which are essential to the department's continued operational success. Since its inception 23 years ago, the foundation has invested over $5 million into FOMI and graduated nearly 500 fire officers. Because the department is so well trained and respected, first responders from across the world often travel in to learn with and train with the FDNY members themselves. We have hosted forums on lithium-ion batteries, which is clearly a crisis situation here in New York City. And recently, the foundation sponsored the 11th annual, another mouthful, Search and Rescue Field Medicine Symposium. We don't have an acronym for that yet. It's just really long, which includes workshops, lectures, panel discussions, and hands-on skills scenarios for medical responders from military, federal, state, and local agencies. And one more on my list. While the department wants to train, a lot of departments all over the world want to train with the FDNY, we also want to learn from others. And this is a recent example. You may have seen in the press, the foundation funded Chief of Department Esposito and other high-ranking officers to travel out to L.A. to meet with their counterparts in the L.A. Fire Department to understand their experiences with the recent devastating fires. People tend to associate New York City with the high-rise buildings of Midtown that you see out the windows here. The reality is the diversity of geography and building type across the 5 boroughs is extraordinary. And as we saw last summer, wildfires can actually happen in New York City. But more importantly, the tactics of fighting wildfires, while it's different than structural fires, things like preparedness, response logistics, incident command, and of course, having the right equipment are fundamental to all fire responses. The list of what we do goes on and on. We do it because the FDNY needs us, and they need you to support us. So I'm going to come back up later on after we hear from the commissioner to talk some more about how you can help us. But let's get to the real reason that we are here, the state of the FDNY. Now, if this were the Oscars or the Grammys, there'd be a cool, subtle cue to play a video, but I'm going to cue the back. There's a video before we introduce the commissioner.
The FDNY plays a major role in keeping New York City safe. It remains on the forefront of public safety, here and beyond. From answering emergency medical calls in every borough to supporting disaster response coast to coast. Whenever, wherever, however, the men and women of the FDNY are here to save lives. Leading on lithium-ion batteries. Innovating with technology. Investing in training. Responding to new and emerging threats. Educating the public. Partnering with others. Always answering the call.
Now I'd like to welcome a longtime New Yorker who, as a kid chasing fire trucks on the Upper East Side, dreamed of someday working with the FDNY. Now he leads the whole damn thing. Close friend, longtime member of the Foundation's board, the 35th Commissioner of the FDNY, Mr. Robert Tucker.
Thank you so much, Matt. And if I was smart, I would just sit down at this point, and that's my talk, and doing great. There's some tired chiefs in the room who I'm looking at that were out fighting a fourth alarm fire with a number of our brave men and women last night. So, Chief, great job last night, and thank you for everything that all the members are doing. Chief Fields, your troops were there too. Thank you for the EMS assets. There might be some overlap. Matt and I didn't rehearse, but good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. It's like talking to a bunch of my friends. I think I know almost everyone in the room. I am deeply grateful to the foundation on whose board I served for many, many years, which is why something like this is very comfortable for me. And I think if you don't know me, you should know that I grew up the block here in Manhattan. I went to high school in the Bronx. My first job after college was in Queens. I now work in Brooklyn. And while I haven't been to Staten Island prior to this job frequently, I can say that I have visited every single firehouse and EMS station on Staten Island. And I have been to Royal Crown, which is now my new favorite sandwich shop, many, many times, and I highly recommend everyone in this room make a trip to Staten Island to eat at Royal Crown. It is the honor of a lifetime to be the 35th New York City Fire Commissioner, and I want you to know that I am humbled and honored to work with the great men and women of this department. It's been 178 days since I was sworn in, and I have spent a lot of time visiting EMS stations and firehouses, talking to our members about what they do, and really trying to learn and understand the culture of what's happening in this great department. And there are some amazing, amazing things going on, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of them with you. Matt, the gratitude that the department has for the foundation, there are no words, really. And frankly, if I only talk about Matt and I don't talk about Jean O'Shea, who is the absolute iron woman of the foundation, who keeps it all together. Jean, thank you from every single person in the FDNY. Matt talked about some of the things that we do out in the field in cooperation with the foundation. CPR obviously is a big deal for us. We visit hundreds of classrooms. We speak with school children all the time. We install, in a partnership with the Red Cross, smoke detectors, which Matt talked about. But there are other really, really important things that Matt touched on that this department would not be as great as it is without having the support of the foundation, equipment that you so generously buy us, technology. You saw a quick drone shot. Chief Woods and Chief Esposito are here. Chief Myers is in the back. There's not a fire. I'm sorry. Hi, Tom. How are you? Good. Chief Correo is here. There's not a fire that I have been to. There's not a fire that happens in New York City that that we're not using our drones to as tacticians at fire scenes to really understand what's going on in the past. And even last night, we had the NYPD support us with their helicopter. That's one tool. But having our own drones on the scene and having the drone screens right in front of the fire building, I think has saved tremendous lives. And I know that we are going to invest a lot more in that technology going forward, probably with the foundation's help. So thank you for that. We have a film that the FDNY Foundation helped pay for, and there's a QR code for you to scan. It's called An Extraordinary Measure. It highlights the beginning of paramedicine in New York City. We're going to show a little clip of it after I'm done. But the work of our EMTs and paramedics is truly unbelievable. And we have Chief Mike Fields here, who runs EMS for the department. Really, the people that work under your command and with your leadership are nothing short of amazing. So thank you, Chief Fields. The foundation is really, as Matt indicated, paying for some things that I, in my first 178 days, am somewhat surprised that isn't a part of our budget. So we really are quite lucky to have the support of everybody in this room who generously gives of not just their time but their hard-earned dollars to make a big difference. You're really saving lives. I know that when the mayor offered me this job in August, he asked me to put out the fires within the department and identify and implement innovative ways to position the department for sustained success for years to come. And I think we're achieving those goals by utilizing state-of-the-art technology, overhauling our recruitment process, investing in our membership, boosting morale, and so much more. And I stand here before all of you today to clearly and loudly say that the state of the FDNY is strong. Last year, New York City saw a 25% decrease in fire fatalities, including a 67% reduction in lithium-ion battery-related fire deaths. EMS responded to a record number of medical calls, and combined, the department responded to 2.3 million calls for service. I'm going to say it again, 2.3 million calls for service last year. Fire prevention inspections were up 15%. Enforcement actions were up across the board, including a nearly 100% increase in criminal summons written. And our fire safety educators were out in force, delivering a 37% increase in fire safety education presentations to New Yorkers all over the city, meeting them where they are and providing them with life-saving information. Our mobile CPR unit delivered a 55% increase in the amount of New Yorkers trained in CPR last year, and 30% of those trained were high school students, because we know the young people help lead the way when it comes to fire and life safety. I want to thank the mayor and the deputy mayor for public safety, Chauncey Parker, who's here. Chauncey, thank you for all of the support that you have given me in my role and the FDNY. This is the greatest fire department in the world, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for the continued partnership that we have with City Hall as we navigate difficult conversations about who we are and how we stay the premier public safety agency that we are. But the FDNY today is not the FDNY of yesteryear. We are stronger, we are better trained, we're more ready than ever to handle whatever comes our way. We are a 24/7 all hazards public safety agency, and we require critical resources, especially when it comes to EMS. I believe that EMS is the biggest public safety crisis that not enough people are talking about. Here's why. Last year alone, EMS responded to 1.6 million medical calls. 1.6 million calls. That's actual calls that the ambulance responded to. 50%, 50% of the work that our fire engines are doing is medical. 50% of what the red trucks are doing is medical. The future of the FDNY is in EMS. To that end, we're taking steps to improve response times, to attract a diverse array of candidates to our ranks, and to make sure that New Yorkers know when to call 911 and when they just are better suited to go to an urgent care or use a different mode of transportation. We're starting to use community paramedic response units. We call them fly cars, with no transport capability to go to life-threatening incidents, along with our basic life support ambulances for transportation. The paramedics in the fly cars assess the patient, can provide life-saving medicine, but also can decide when a basic life support ambulance is sufficient. If advanced life support care is needed, the fly car is there. If it's not, it's free to take up and go to the next emergency, thereby reducing response times overall. We need more of them because we know they're an effective means of reducing the time it takes to respond to medical emergency. That gets medicine there quicker and more effectively than we're currently doing it. We've started to position hospital liaison officers in emergency rooms to reduce the amount of time it takes for our EMTs and paramedics to turn around. We're trying to pick up every second, and the seconds that are wasted in emergency rooms after we've brought the patient to the hospital really matter. We've actually begun a pilot where we're seeing a 7-minute turnaround time reduction. That may not be a lot to you, but 7 minutes to us is a major step in the right direction. With life-threatening emergencies, every second counts, and there are a lot of seconds in 7 minutes. We've also reinstated the 10-minute rule for ambulance responses, giving EMS clear direction that patients will be taken to a hospital closest to the patient's location, ending the days where EMS is being used as a car service and you get to go to the hospital of your choice. True story. I saw an FDNY ambulance at Westchester Medical Center in central Westchester. I found out they came from Southeast Queens. Do the math, guys. That's not sustainable. Finally, the piece that ties the whole thing together is a multi-million-dollar investment in our EMS computer-assisted dispatching. Modernizing the EMS CAD will ensure that we're able to communicate effectively with our dispatchers, respond quickly, and be as prepared as possible for whatever we face. Our EMS members are doing an incredible job, and I applaud them and their tenacity and their dedication because they do a lot with a little. I also want to talk to you about the fire side of the house. Our firefighters and and our fire officers are really the best in the world. With response times to structural fires under 4 minutes, recent events in North Carolina and California and right here in the Bronx have made it clear that we need to talk about the fierce urgency of modern fire department management and the business of public safety. Wind-driven fires in buildings that displace hundreds of families, unfortunately, that's becoming more common in New York City. We had a fire a couple weeks ago at 2910 Wallace Avenue in the Bronx, where the FDNY fought a raging 5-alarm top-floor fire. That can happen. The high prevalence of these kinds of dangerous fires reminds us of the critical importance of having the proper modern apparatus to extinguish these fires and keep our members and the members of the public safe, especially in freezing cold weather, where apparatus ladders freeze, thawing units are required to open hydrants and to keep water flowing, and our members get hurt because of ice and other conditions. Our climate has changed. The politics of how we got there, that's for others to debate and dissect. But what we cannot and must not politicize is the safety of our first responders, who work for inequitable middle-class wages in the most hazardous job imaginable. These are very dangerous jobs that many of us discourage our children from pursuing. Nevertheless, our members run toward danger bravely and without hesitation. Urban fire departments like the FDNY must now rethink how we will fight fires like the ones that ravaged Los Angeles and how we respond to natural disasters like the storms that have slammed North Carolina. We are now at the FDNY asking ourselves very tough questions. What resources do we need that we don't have? What emergency response strategies do we need to be ready to deploy to keep the people of New York City safe in 2025, but more importantly, beyond that? Most importantly, what training and equipment do our firefighters require that they are not currently getting? These questions keep me up at night, and they are central to any public safety policy that we develop in New York City going forward. Let's be clear. FDNY members are doing an exceptional job. They take an oath that binds them to running towards danger while we teach our children to run away from it. That dedication demands our respect and our own oath to protect and to fund and to support them wherever and whenever we can. An observation about public safety and public service. These are jobs and career pathways that are deeply fulfilling. They contribute to a lifelong sense of purpose, and most importantly, economic freedom for our young people. Our members are your neighbors, and that's why the FDNY spends a lot of time in the community. The relationships we forge matter, and we know in an emergency the community responds better to the firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics that they know from their block. These relationships are crucial to our city's future success. Evolving our culture for the next century of public safety requires we do several things at the same time. But don't worry, at the FDNY, we're really good at that. What we need your support. We need to raise the profile of the FDNY. We need to talk about our greatness and our needs so that we can truly be the best of the best. Sadly, in 2025, I don't think the definition of public safety seems to always include the FDNY, and it absolutely must. Keeping New Yorkers safe requires a properly funded FDNY. This is an exciting time for us and an exciting time for our city. I hope you see it that way because I'm counting on each and every one of you in this partnership to help us come up with innovative solutions that will make people's lives better. I know you know how to do that because you're doing that at the FDNY Foundation already and have been for a really long time. So I cannot wait to see what we can accomplish together. Thank you. I think we're now going to show a little clip from an extraordinary measure which highlights our community, our paramedics, and the great things they're doing in the community.
Conditions 0404 Adam 02 Willie respond to the trauma at West Broadway and Chambers. Fire is reporting a customer has been struck by a train southbound number 2 line. Hashtag 1 and 39 rescues have been assigned.
Where are you?
Go for Adam.
Manhattan, I think. What happened? Got weak radio pulses.
All right, 10-4. I'll get your vital signs for you. All right, we'll get you warmed up. Can I see a finger? Excellent, thank you. 39 rescue to the hashtag battalion for 5 Mary.
It's good to know where you came from, to know where you are and where you're going. New York in the 70s was rough.
There were shootings, there were stabbings, there were jumpers, there were car accidents, there was one trauma call after the other. And although the medical calls, all of the patients weren't just sick, they were multi-system sick.
Look at the diseases, look at the trauma. Where does the community need? All right? They need paramedics. That the community needs paramedics. And they need an operational system that delivers the care. Those things got to work.
So the paramedic program started as a pilot in 1974, providing advanced life support to the residents of the Bronx was immeasurable, it was quantifiable, where you could go in and make a big difference as paramedics prior to transporting the patient to the hospital.
The medic program was invaluable. I mean, it was extremely important that it continue, that it persist, that it expand because of the people that it served.
The public slowly became aware of what our job was and what we can do.
I mean, we come in and they're surprised we're coming out with this equipment. They didn't know who we were. And they said, wow. In the field, when we took out the defibrillators, people never saw that piece of equipment before because it was always in the ER.
You know, maybe these guys are good. Maybe they can hang around. Maybe they're doing fine for the patient. And then slowly, I guess the word got out. We were the princes of Bronx.
Big thing was when the save happened, it hit the paper, and then the whole shift happened with the mayor's office. Who are medics? Where are they? I want more. I want medics in every hospital right now, and that's where we really blew up.
We've always had the medical calls, we've always had the trauma calls, but now we are seeing different types of cases. We are seeing more infectious diseases. We're seeing measles, polio. Now we're seeing mass shootings, mass casualty incidents, the whole aspect of terrorism, the anthrax cases that we saw in New York City. These are all new things.
For the past 50 years, our capabilities have increased tremendously. From equipment to vehicles to medications, from protocols. We're just able to do so much now that we didn't do 50 years ago. Mass casualty incidents, active shooter jobs, collapses, terrorist attack. We keep training. Our goal is to train our members the best we can so we can be prepared for that type of assignment if and when it comes in.
Today, the paramedics are more prepared than ever.
I think that the first paramedic program, the implementation of the skills that we learned in that class on the street, raised the level of expectation.
They're the foundation of the program and the department. Without them, there'll be no us.
I highly recommend that everybody scan the QR code. You don't have to watch it now, although you might have wanted to watch it during my remarks. But I highly recommend that you download it and watch the whole thing. It's really quite incredible. Before I take a few questions, I wonder if all of the uniform members, led by First Deputy Commissioner Mark Guerra, would just stand up so we could all just say hello and thank you. Thanks for what you do. We have an extraordinary team at the FDNY led by First Deputy Commissioner Guerra and Chief Esposito, and I can't thank them enough for the support that they have given me in the last 6 months. So I'm happy to take some questions. Excellent. Nice. No. Tom Richardson's here, a retired chief of the department, great friend of the department, fabulous firefighter. Thanks, Tom, for being here. And Tom Von Essen's here also. Everybody knows Commissioner Von Essen. Thanks. And look, he's going to hate me for doing this, but Deputy Mayor Chauncey Parker is a visionary, and he's my boss. So if I don't acknowledge him, I might be fired anyway on the way out. But this is going to help me keep my job. So Chauncey, thanks for all that you do. Really. I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy. I think almost everyone in this room has my cell phone number. The fact is that I am grateful to all of you. If there are no questions, we don't have to prolong this. It's a rough day out there, and I'm grateful for all of you just for coming. So I don't see any questions. Sounds great. Matt?
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate you answering questions as well. Like you said, we didn't rehearse. It was kind of, hey, you want to answer some questions? And there are none. I have some, but I'll call you. Look, the statistics that the Commissioner laid out, they are staggering, right? I mean, 2.3 million total calls, the EMS calls under Chief Fields. It's staggering. The response statistics, the situations the FDNY personnel find themselves in is beyond compare anywhere in the fire service. It's what makes me and all of us on the foundation board and the associate board so passionate about doing everything we can to help. Needless to say, the initiatives that the foundation funds cost millions and millions of dollars per year. Since its founding almost 30 years ago, the foundation has raised over $195 million for the FDNY. My goal is to raise $200 million over the next 10 years. The department's needs far exceed what the foundation can currently provide, and simply much more that all of us can do to show our gratitude to the members of this department. Raising that much money is a lofty goal for sure. Do I think it is possible? Absolutely, with your help. As an example, just 2 weeks ago, the LA Fire Foundation raised over $20 million in one day to support the firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics of LA who are dealing with unimaginable devastation. In a city like New York, large-scale events are possible every minute of every day. We hope tragedies never occur, but they are inevitable. Why wait to raise funds around those tragedies? Shouldn't we raise the funds because the department needs them now in an effort to mitigate the possibility of such events and prepare for them when they occur? So how can you help us? You already help us. What are the ways? That list of ways is almost as long as the programs that we fund. If you want to give right now, you can scan a QR code and give. Feel free. If you want to experience and enjoy the FDNY, we sponsor and host many notable events throughout the year, from smaller block parties and open houses to our largest event, one that most of you have probably been to, our annual gala dinner, which is held in September. This year will be on Thursday, September 4th. Put it on your calendar. And since 2021, it's held at The Rock. Yes, it is at the FDNY Training Academy. Not in a room, it's outdoors. It takes over the entire facility. And if you haven't been, it's mind-blowing. It's been described more as a spectacle than a dinner. 1,200 guests, but we have capacity for double that. Not only raise millions of dollars for the foundation, but the members of the department themselves are there, giving demonstrations across the facility, from the strategies of structural firefighting in fire buildings to various rescue scenarios, a visit by the Marine unit in the waters around the academy, and seemingly everyone's favorite, a ride up in a tower ladder. This year, we will recognize Adina Friedman, the chair and CEO of NASDAQ, with our Humanitarian Award. She's not only a very successful and influential businesswoman, but she is devoted to the good of New York City. This event is considered one of the largest and most recognizable charity events in the city. It allows us to sit among heroes and thank them personally, and they get to show off a bit. For those looking to stretch their legs, this is really interesting. Joe LaPointe is going to lead the charge. Right, Joe? Join me on May 4th as I and 342 other participants climb a mere 1,100 feet from the lobby to the 93rd floor of the iconic One Vanderbilt here in Midtown Manhattan for our 3rd annual Climb to Summit. Now, if that sounds a little too sporty, you can support one of the 343 climbers. The event is designed to be a fundraiser while also providing awareness of the incredible physical fitness our firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics must have to do their jobs. Put it in perspective. If you think climbing 1,100 feet of stairs is daunting, think of walking up 5 or 10 flights of stairs in a typical New York City apartment building that's on fire, filled with dark smoke, wearing and carrying an extra 75 pounds of gear. In that context, our climb is pretty simple compared to what our firefighters face every day. Most meaningful impact you can have is programmatic giving, whether it be for specific initiatives that are important for you or for the foundation's broader mission. We are here to customize a giving program for you. Donate your time, donate your services, most importantly, donate your funds. We owe it to the department to show them that we support them. Now, in this room, there are some very, very recognizable corporate brands. That said, the FDNY is one of the most recognizable and influential brands in the world. No matter where you go around the globe, everybody knows the FDNY. We at the foundation view our donors as partners and love nothing more than to promote our partners' desire to support the department and fire safety in New York City. I want the FDNY Foundation to be the model for public safety foundations across the globe. I want to raise more money for these heroes than we ever have. People look to the FDNY for guidance when it comes to fire protection and life safety. People should be looking to the foundation for guidance when it comes to supporting our fire departments to make our cities safer. There are over 8 million people that live in this city, 1 million people that commute into it each day, including me, and over 60 million people that visit it every year. The members of the FDNY are protecting every single one of those lives and every square inch of property in the 5 boroughs. If you set foot in New York City for any reason, you should be supporting this department. The men and women of this department put their lives on the line for us every single day, willingly, fearlessly, tirelessly. Heroes without capes is a statement that's used all the time, but it's an understatement. They are superhuman. The least that we can do is thank them. So if you see a firefighter, EMT, or paramedic on the street, simply say thank you. And then join us at the foundation in thanking them with the financial support that they need and deserve. I'll say it again, they simply cannot do it without us. On behalf of the foundation board and the entire department, thank you all for joining us on this blustery morning here in New York City. Well, we hope this will be the first of many more State of the FDNY events. I look forward to seeing you all at other events in the near future, and enjoy your day. Be safe.